How we doing, everyone? Hope you're well. Mr. Bowler here, and I'm back today with my very first video of 2024. So before I go any further, just want to say I hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year. And today's video is also video number 200 on the channel. So I just want to say thanks to everyone who's been watching, likes, comments, subscribes, all that good stuff. It's been great to meet so many new people, make so many new friends via the community. So that's awesome stuff. So today I'm doing my answers to the Metal Tag 2024, which has been done this year by the Heavy Metallurgy channel and with some help from Metal Mickey, because Scott's busy this year. So 20 questions to answer. Going to get straight into it. First question to answer today is to name a release that you're eagerly anticipating this year. There's quite a few, but for me, the one I'm most looking forward to is the new album from Deicide, which is called Banished by Sin, and I don't think there's any release date for it yet, but here's their debut from 1990. For me, Deicide's a band that hasn't got any bad albums in their discography. I know a lot of people shit on Incinerate Him and In Torment in Hell, but I don't think they're bad albums at all. Yeah, very strong discography. The most recent stuff is really good as well, so that's my answer to question number one. The new Deicide album, I'm looking forward to that coming out this year, no doubt about it. Also looking forward to releases by people like Saxon and Judas Priest. Number two, question two is Chinese New Year, Year of the Dragon. Sharpen album, inspired by or containing dragons on the cover. Now, I was going to show Killing the Dragon by Dio, but Roger Kjorvik showed that. So instead, I'm going to show Yngwie J. Malmsteen, and this is Trilogy from, I think, 1986. Yep. Excellent shred guitar stuff from Yngwie, of course. Brilliant stuff. Nice album cover artwork here with the dragon on the front. Looks excellent. So that's my answer to question two. Yngwie Malmsteen Trilogy, a dragon on the front cover of an album. Question three. What was your favourite album you acquired in 2023? There's two, to be honest, but one was the one that I was really after, but I was happy to grab both. And it was the reissues of Demolition Hammer's debut, Tortured Existence, and for me, mostly, because it's my favourite of the two, it was the reissue of their second album, Epidemic of Violence, from 1992, because these two albums, to get hold of on original press, is pretty much impossible, and if they do show up on something like eBay or a record fair, they cost an absolute fortune. So I was really happy to grab both of these albums, but particularly this one, some thrash metal with some death metal in there. Very, very happy to grab this on vinyl at last. So that's my answer to that question. Those two, my favourite pickups of last year, but like I say, mostly Epidemic of Violence. Sorry I keep looking down, I'm looking at the questions. Number four. Was there a time in 2023 that you purchased digitally but didn't pick up a physical copy? Can't answer that because everything I pick up is a physical copy. I used to download some stuff from iTunes years ago, but I couldn't tell you last time I did. It was such a long time ago. So I can't answer that question, unfortunately. That was question four, so let's go on to question five. Show an album that musically doesn't match the cover art. Some UK thrash here. And here's Reanimator and Deny Reality, their 6-track mini album from 1989. I think it's 89. Yeah, that cover does not say thrash metal. Looks just like a title card for an opening of a cartoon or something like that. Doesn't give away thrash metal at all. Some excellent UK thrash here from Reanimator, but that cover does not say thrash in the slightest. That's my answer to question number five. Question six. Who's the metal artist that you own most albums by? This isn't the first time you're going to see this artist. And it's, of course, Iron Maiden. I've just got so much Maiden stuff. And here I'm going to show you my picture disc copy of their 1990 album. Their underrated 1990 album, No Parade for the Dying. There it is. Got so much Maiden stuff. Absolutely tons of it. Metallica probably would have been second, but definitely Maiden. I've got all of the sort of classic era albums on a CD, cassette, and vinyl. I've actually got 4 copies of No Prayer for the Dying. But yeah, the band that you own most things by is definitely Iron Maiden, no doubt about it. Love that band, very important to me when I was growing up, still important to me now. Up next, show an album that you blind bought in 2023. So I haven't actually got this yet. It's on order, but it should be turned up in the next couple of days. So I'll put a picture of it here. And it's Guns for Hire by Tail Gunner. I've seen quite a few people showing this album and seen it around about on things like Instagram and that. So I bought it and didn't even listen to any of it. And I've listened to it about 5 or 6 times on Spotify since I bought the CD. And it's really good. Old school new wave of British heavy metal. I'm not going to talk about it too much more because obviously it'll be in a collection update which will be coming soon. So that's a release that I blind bought last year. Where are we at now? Show a title that you own on more than one format. Now this is an album that I absolutely love, and if I was going to put together a list of my 10 favourite albums, this would definitely be in there. No doubt about it. This is also a recent pickup to the collection, so you're seeing it for the first time. And I'm talking about Metallica's Master of Puppets. Here's a 1989 cassette reissue. Here's my CD, which I've had for years. This is also a 1989 repress. Excellent stuff. A 3 CD reissue which came out about 4 or 5 years ago with a load of bonus stuff on there. I just love this album so much. An original press on vinyl from 1986. A recent reissue from, let's have a look. No, I can't see. About 2017, something like that. Picked this one up a few years ago. And last but certainly no means least is this really nice picture disc edition, which for a picture disc sounds pretty good. It's got to be said. So that's my answer for that question. The albums that you own multiple formats of. 6 different versions of Master of Puppets. Love that album so much. Is it necessary? Of course not. But I love having those bits in the collection, it has to be said. Next up is Bookworm, show for release, conceptually inspired by literature. Can't answer this one because I don't really read books or anything like that, to be honest. So I've got absolutely no idea about kind of literature things really. So that question doesn't apply to me. So I cannot answer that one. So up next is question number 10. Name a band that you would travel considerable distance to see live in 2024. I can't answer this one either, because to be honest, I'm very lucky. I only live about an hour away from London, where pretty much everyone plays, it has to be said. Me and my wife go and watch a lot of gigs in London, and from leaving our back door to being in the venue sometimes can take at the very most an hour and a half. By the time we leave the house and by the time we're in somewhere, say like Wembley Arena or the O2 Arena, Kentish Town Forum, the Underworld in Camden, only takes just over an hour and a quarter, hour and a half, and we're there in the venue already. So I don't need to travel considerable distance to see any bands because I get to see all the bands that I want to see anyway because I'm very lucky to live not that far from the capital. So that's the answer to that question, really. Up next, question 11, Sour Grapes. Show a 2023 release that you enthusiastically purchased but eventually lost interest in. I wouldn't say I've lost interest in this, but it's Coffin Mulch. I can't remember the name of the bloody album. Spectral Intercession. This is sort of entombed worship, Swedish death metal. These guys are from Scotland. I've listened to this about 6 or 7 times. Every time I listen to it, I think to myself after it's finished, yeah, it's okay. But that's about as far as I go with it. I just think it's okay. I think the problem with this was that there was so much hype around this album that when it came out, that I picked it up and I was just expecting to be completely blown away. And for me, it's just not happened. Like I say, every time I listen to it, I can sit down, listen to it, I can enjoy it, but not at any point have I ever thought to myself, this is absolutely amazing. I just think it's okay. But yeah, that's probably got a lot to do with the hype that surrounded it. For me, I was expecting a knockout punch, but this is now, for me, just hasn't lived up to the hype. It's still an okay listen, but Coffee Mulch's debut is one that definitely disappointed me. And yeah, it probably won't be featuring in my albums of the year list. I should imagine that will definitely be in the honourable mentions. It's still an okay listen, but not my favourite, it has to be said. A lot of people don't like the vocals. Not a problem for me. I like the vocals. Guitar sounds good. In general, I don't mind it, but yeah, it just didn't live up to the hype for me. Up next is question 12, The Golden Child. Name an artist you feel can do no wrong. I'm going to go with Nile. Just an absolutely fantastic death metal band from the United States. Carl Sanders is such an intelligent man. His interest in Egyptology is all over Nile's music. Very technical death metal. The use of lots of traditional Egyptian instruments makes their stuff stand out more from the rest of the death metal crowd. And these guys have never put out a bad album. I mean, their last album for me was a little bit weak, but I certainly can still listen to it and enjoy it. But Carl Sanders to me is a genius. You've got George Collas on the drums, a fantastic drummer. There's a bit of a revolving door with the other musicians in the band since Dallas Tollaway left. But a band that can do it wrong for me is Nile. Excellent technical death metal, which I absolutely love. Fantastic stuff from those guys. Just a fantastic band. Carl Sanders is a genius as far as I'm concerned. Up next, a band that outstayed their welcome. A band that should have hung up a long time ago. I didn't even need to think about this. This was a band that I got into back in sort of 86, 87 when I was first discovering bands for myself. And this album I'm about to show was absolutely huge, and I still love it to this day. But this band have put out some absolutely atrocious shit in the last 25 years. But this album I absolutely love, and I still love it to this day, and I don't care what anyone says. It's a 10 out of 10 album. It's absolutely perfect. Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet. No bad songs. Excellent from start to finish. A while ago, though, I did a Bon Jovi album ranking. I must say, I hadn't listened to anything since 2000's Crush. I had to pick up about 7 or 8 albums and listen to them. And I'm not exaggerating. Some of the latter-day Bon Jovi albums are fucking awful. They are so, so bad. They're very, very bland. They're very, very dull. And they were hard to get through, some of them, it has to be said. I mean, back in the day with albums like this, 7,800 Fahrenheit, the debut, just fantastic stuff. For me, they should have stopped after Keep the Faith. Because these days, for me, is when things start to go massively downhill for them. And they sort of moved towards housewife rock. And a lot of the stuff that they've done these last 25 years, apart from maybe 1 or 2 albums, like Crush from 2000 is good. This House Is Not For Sale is a good album. But the others are all absolutely terrible. And I just don't ever need to listen to them again. So Bon Jovi definitely should have hung it out back in the early 90s as far as I'm concerned. But this is still an amazing album. So that's my answer to that question. Up next is show a release that I got last year that was inspired by watching people's YouTube channels. I saw quite a few people show this, and you saw it just last week. The person I remember showing it the most was Darcy. So I picked this up because, to be honest, this is a band I've known of for years, and I really wanted to pick up some of their stuff and never got round to it. And then a few months ago, I went to HMV here in the town where I live, and they had it in there, and not for a ridiculous price, which makes a nice change. So this is Cattle Decapitation and Terrorsight. This is an album that was definitely inspired by watching people's YouTube videos, but they were on my radar to listen to for a while. So that's the answer to that question. Cattle Decapitation. Up next. Show an otherwise good album that suffers from being too long. I didn't have to think about this either. Iron Maiden's Senjutsu. I mean, to be honest, you can say this about a lot of latter-day Iron Maiden albums. But this is an album that I enjoy. But for me, you could shave 10, 15 minutes off this album and it would be much better for it. And that wouldn't even mean like cutting out an entire song or something like that. It would just mean trimming down the massively long-winded intros and outros that pretty much all of these songs have. So Jets is a good album, but it just drags its feet. And by the time it finishes, part of me is just relieved it's over and done with. But it's got some great tunes on it, like Writing on the Wall, I really, really love, and Death of the Celts. But pretty much every single song could do with being shortened down, no doubt about it. Take out some of the long-winded intros and outros and it'll be a much better album for it as far as I'm concerned. Up next, show us your favourite band t-shirt. You've seen this band already. And it's Iron Maiden. And some of the Somewhere in Time sort of artwork on this. So that's my favourite t-shirt. Absolutely love Somewhere in Time. I do actually have the Somewhere in Time album cover artwork on a t-shirt, but it's a green t-shirt and I prefer it to be black, but it is what it is. So that's my favourite band t-shirt. Share a band or an artist that you think for at least 24 years still going strong and creatively relevant. For me, Pestilence, this is their most recent album. So Dutch death metalers that have been around since the mid-80s. For me, a band that doesn't just churn out the same album over and over again. They change their style up slightly. They're very forward-thinking, quite avant-garde, technical death metal, not churn out the same thing over and over again. Really, really good band. I love this album. This is my favourite album of 2021. Definitely a band that's still relevant and creatively pushing things forward and not just churn out the same thing over and over again. So that's Pestilence. That's my answer to that question. Quick drink. Share your favourite band mascot. You probably know what's coming. It's hard to look past Eddie, to be honest. Iron Maiden album cover artwork was very important to me back in the mid to late 80s when I was discovering my own bands and my own music. I mean, you've only got to look at the artwork. It's just absolutely outstanding. Probably one of my favourite album artworks ever. There's Somewhere in Time, but so many great, iconic artworks. It's hard to look past Eddie for an answer to this question, to be honest. Somewhere in Time from 1986, amazing artwork. But Eddie, definitely my favourite mascot. Vic Rattlehead from Megadeth would probably be a close second. So that's my answer to that question. Up next, question 19. Grab bag, share a random pull from your collection. I pulled this out earlier. He's Blink-182, an Enema of the State from 1998. Pop punk. Not interested in a load of pop punk, but I listened to this album loads back in the late 90s. An album full of great tracks, massive singles on this, like What's My Age Again, which is my favourite songs ever. All the Small Things, that was huge as well, but there's other great stuff on this, like Aliens Exist, Going Away to College, Adam's Song, the Party Song, Anthem, stuff like that. Yep, don't listen to a lot of pop punk, but that one I really enjoy. Excellent album from Blink-182 from 1998. And the answer to the last question for the metal tag for this year. Question 20 is show an album from a metal band that others might not consider metal. I'm going to go with Led Zeppelin and Led Zeppelin 2 from, I think, 1969. So, as we all know, or in my opinion at least, the holy trinity of hard rock and heavy metal is always Black Sabbath, Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin. And even though I can see, for me personally, I lean more towards Led Zeppelin as more hard rock than heavy metal. For me, they're definitely still a heavy metal band at the same time. The riffs that Jimmy Page was playing back at this time, you just hadn't really heard riffs like that before. The massive vocals of Robert Plant and the thunderous drums from John Bonham, for me, definitely gives Led Zeppelin their heavy metal credentials. An essential band for me, a band that my dad introduced me to, and a band I still love to this day dearly. Everything they put out is fantastic. But yeah, for me, Led Zeppelin is a band that some might not consider metal, but I definitely do consider them metal. Even though, like I say, they're a little bit more on the hard rock side, but there's definitely heavy metal in there. And a massive influence on heavy metal bands for absolute years now. And that will never change. Fantastic stuff from Led Zeppelin. So they're a metal band to me, which some might not consider metal. Right, guys, so there we go. That's it. That's the Metal Tag 2024 done. As per usual, jump in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these, the answer to these questions that I came up with. Apologies I couldn't answer all of them, but it is what it is. As always, cheers for watching to the end. It's very much appreciated. I'll be back with a collection update next week, and the week after I'll be doing my albums of the year list. I always do my albums of the year towards the end of January because I always end up picking up so much stuff right at the end of the year that I need to give everything a fair listen so I can put the list together properly because I don't want to be phoning it in. So that's it, guys. I'll see you next week, as per usual. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. So cheers, take care, and I'll see you later.